What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're having a good day. Today's video we are going to be working on the two Integras. So we got the RSX here still, which technically an Integra, and I got my D8 Integra. So the RSX, I don't know if I mentioned in the last video when we were doing the bash bar, bumper bar thing on it, but my buddy asked me if I could swap this piece out while I was here. So I'd never changed this piece out. It's called a shift arm, and it goes inside the transmission. It is part of the shift assembly, and it looks pretty straightforward to swap out, but I figured, you know what, may as well film it, give me something to do. And then I also got to swap out the rear engine mounting bracket on the Integra because mine has been messed up for like 3 years now. Ain't no sense in dilly-dallying, so let's just jump straight into it. The piece that I am talking about is right down here inside of that guy. So this whole assembly here pulls right up, so it's kind of hard to see, but there is like 3 10mm bolts. You got one there, and one right over here. There might be a fourth one in that hole right there, but that one looks like, if it is one, it's snapped off. So don't really know what to do about that, but yeah, so I don't have to take anything else out. Normally there's an air box here, but obviously cold air intake. I actually pretty sure this is the one that I fabricated for him, but just pull the shifter cables off, just some pins, and then just, you know, the clips, and they just off to the side, and then those couple 10 mils and the whole thing should just pull right up. So with the shift selector actually out of the car now, you can kind of see what's going on here. So if you were to change out your shift selector springs, which I still got to do on my Integra, so I'm probably going to do that in this video as well, you would unbolt this piece and hold this all together, pull it off, and then you'll have your 2 springs right here, your big one, and then your little one is also tucked up in there. So this is the piece that we're going to be replacing right now. This is the shift arm. So this piece is actually what is, you can see sitting right here. So where the bolt's actually going into, this is the piece we're taking out. So looks like I should be able to take that out, and then all of this will kind of like fall off piece by piece. So we're going to try and keep it organized and laid out, and then we're just going to stack it back up with the new one. So I believe what's happened is his teeth are worn down, but we'll find out here in a sec once I get this thing off. So this is the piece that we're looking at, and he's actually got a couple of chunks missing out of his. So I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up because of the lighting. Yeah, it can kind of is. I'm using a halogen light above me, so I'm sorry for the weird color, but yeah, you can see those 2 big gouges right there. So let's see if we can't get this thing put back together, shall we? Well, I think we got it sorted out. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually pull mine out of my transmission because I'm gonna get too lazy and forget to change out my springs. But also so I can compare this. I feel like there's only one way this can really go together, because the spring, and there's a little like a machine piece on the top of this bottom metal piece. I don't know, it kind of just has to turn with itself like that, and the spring kind of clips in on the bottom part of this arm that I just replaced, so that's why I feel like it only goes in the one way. But just to be sure, I'm going to pull mine out really quick and confirm that. This one's never been off before, so this one's a lot harder to get. Try not to scar up the edges with the screwdriver. Alright, so looking at these things side by side, oh yeah, shifter springs. So these are the two shifter springs. I have these three over here. I forget exactly what those go to. These little guys, I'll look that up here in a minute, see if I feel like getting around to it today. But these are the two main ones, and not Hybrid Racing, Tall Pines Racing actually sent me these. If you don't follow them on Instagram, they do like transmission builds and stuff like that. Really good guys. But they sent me these things like 2 years ago, and I never got around to using them because I was kind of intimidated by it at first, and then by the time I felt comfortable enough to take this thing out, I just forgot that I even had them until like a month ago, and then I was like, oh, you know what, while I'm here. But let's compare these two things really quick. Let me zoom you in, focus you up a little bit. So the things that I'm looking for, this is mine, this is the one I just took out from the DC5. So got the thing there, the ridge there, spring in the middle, and these are both clocked in the same orientation, so I believe this is all assembled correctly. So you can see that there is some silicone along the base here. So you do, let me zoom in on that. So you do want to scrape that off, and then you might have some residual on the transmission as well, down there. So if you do, just clean it up and be careful not to drop a bunch of crap in the transmission, and lay some new Honda Bond or silicone on there. So let's pull this thing apart one more time, swap them springs out. So the main difference here, I don't know how well you can see it on camera, is this new spring is much beefier. There we go, springs swapped out. Stupid easy, except I don't have any silicone, so I gotta run up to AutoZone really quick, go get some gray RTV, and I'll be right back and we can slap these things back in the transmissions. Okay, got this thing all slathered up. Let's drop this thing back into RSX. I'm gonna just bolt the cables back up and this thing should be good to go. I do have to put that big bolt in, so this bolt, I noticed it has silicone on it, so I'm gonna clean that off really quick. And pretty much anything for me that goes threaded into the engine or the transmission, I usually just put a dab of silicone like RTV on there, because you don't want leaks, especially if something like this where it doesn't have like a crush washer or something, which I don't think it did, because neither that one nor this one had one, so RTV it is. Space. Alright, so both cars have had time to cure now. This is a couple days later. So this thing, actually let me feel the shifter really quick, because I felt it by hand at the shift selector on the tranny and it shifted fine, but obviously just want to make sure that it feels good in here. So, oh yeah, there we go. Forgot that the car's not on, so reverse lockout gate's open. Feels fine, shifts good. I don't really notice a difference. I mean, I'm sure he will, but I didn't know exactly what I was feeling before. I mean, it seems to go into the gears themselves a little bit easier, because before you really kind of had to muscle it in there. So this one feels good. As for the Integra though, let's get this thing, its new engine mount. So the one that I'm talking about is the one right back there. Also, my tarp tour, we've had some really nasty winds lately, and this thing's like a year old, and the Arizona sun is not kind. This is the mount that I'm talking about. So you can kind of see, try and get an overhead shot, zoom in. You can see how it's all crooked like that. That would be because this bracket is not the correct one. So I don't know, I welded this bracket a couple years ago. That was one of the first things I ever welded when I was at Hasport, and for whatever reason, it's just, the holes aren't long enough or like slotted enough. So basically what happens is it won't let it come over, and it keeps tearing my bushings like they're torn now. So I got a new bracket that's supposed to be updated, and I got a couple of new bushings to swap out into that mount. So it's pretty easy. I just gotta kind of get under the car. So I'm gonna end up jacking it up just so I can support the back of the motor with a jack stand, or a jack or whatever, so it doesn't, yeah, you get it. Let's get this thing up and let's get started. Car's up. So it looks like, it's been a while since I've touched these, so I think 19s and 17s. So I'm gonna go grab some wrenches really quick and get these things pulled off. Yeah. Oh, that was a pain to get that bolt out. You can see there, bushing's totally wrecked. Next up is just those 4 bolts, and that bracket comes right off. And if anybody's wondering why I didn't change this out sooner, sooner than just like the last 2 weeks that I've had it, whatever, I tried telling Hasport for like probably 2 years, maybe even longer, that the bracket was not right, and they just insisted that it was my car that was a problem. Even after I did the right-hand drive conversion, got a different subframe and everything, until I left Hasport is when they finally realized that they had a problem. So they modified it, and then they finally gave me the right bracket. So yeah, let's compare them really quick, eh? So looking right at it, I don't see much of a difference at all. So I'm actually wondering if they changed anything. The only difference that I might be seeing is that the ears look like they might be a little bit more over, which hopefully that's the case, because that's my issue in the first place. But let's test fit it in the car real quick. And as for this engine mount, it's pretty easy to get these bushings out. They're just pressed in there lightly, so I'll just take a screwdriver and knock the pin out, and you can just kind of pry the bushings out and then put them in pretty easy on the press. like I said, that was easy as pie. So I'm really wondering if this bracket's even going to fit. Really the only way I can make this work is if it don't fit, I'm going to have to slot these holes out more, which I really hate doing. I don't know why they didn't slot them to begin with even more, or I don't know, whatever. But yeah, let's just try it out, I suppose. So I don't even have to bolt it in to see it's not going to fit. You can see just how far off that is. So same situation, except I'm going to just reuse my old bracket, even though this one's cleaner. My holes are already widened out a little bit on that one, so it's going to be easier for me to work with that wide one, or with the older one. So I'm going to just have to use a carbide burr bit and try and hog the crap out of the holes. Alright, well, I think I got it. That looks a lot more straight in there. It's terrifying using the carbide burr bit in those tiny spaces because the bit will like kind of catch and just go and like smack you in the face. I've had like 3 of them explode on me. And as to why I didn't do this 3 years ago when I first put the motor in, just hogged out these holes like that, I didn't find out about carbide burr bits until like 8 months ago, and why I haven't done it since, because I tried drilling these holes out with a drill bit, like angling it and all that. Didn't work, helped a little bit, but didn't fix it. But as to why I haven't totally redone this, I have no idea. I guess I'm just lazy. It's one of those things where you work on your car so much, you never really ever want to touch it. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, get this stuff back together, and update you guys from there. Alright, well, after getting my arms all covered in freaking fiberglass from playing around my header, I had to actually pull the header back a little bit just to get that bottom bolt back in, but everything's all tightened up now. The bracket fits much better. The torque mount is much more straight, so that is progress made. Now hopefully the car doesn't vibrate so dang much, and I noticed that my whole bracket was loose before, so that probably accounted for some of my vibration. This motor just vibrates a lot. Actually, the second time now the other day I had to tighten one of my spark plugs because one had vibrated out, and I don't know why it does that. Maybe it was because that torque mount was torn and beat the hell up, but I don't know. It's fixed. And we on to FaceTime right now with Mr. Lazy Man Garage, kicking it because he's my boy, and he's the only person that actually talks to me anymore. But I don't even really know what's going on for the rest of this video, so I don't even know where we are on. I don't know where we are in this video at this point. We got the RSX done, we got the Integra done. I just got to get it back on the ground now. So yeah. That might be the end of the video. I don't know. We'll find out in this next clip though. Well guys, the RSX has gone home. I got 2 new cars here. I got this car here, this TL, that was doing some maintenance work, but I'm already basically wrapping that up right now. And then I got a Civic out there, which you guys will see in the next video. But yeah, that's gonna wrap this video up. So if you guys did enjoy it, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you've considered subscribing. Yeah, and the next video we'll be doing some fab work on this pretty neat little single cam Civic that we got here. And if you want to help support the channel, please by all means hit that big cartel, order some merch, some stickers, some bars if you got an EG, Del Sol, or a DA. Really helps me out. That's my fab business that I'm working on growing. If you guys want to help do that, go follow the Instagram pages as well. Get the pages out there, you know. Anyways guys, do what you love, forget about the rest, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.